Okay, so I'm trying again to do this little command tutorial. And we are doing this for the GenCyber camps at JJay. And so this is a little tutorial. This is only going to be about 10 minutes. Don't worry. Doing this with a class will take a lot longer, but I wanted to go through it so that it was demoed for the instructional staff and anybody who needed to. So the reason that we introduced the command terminal may seem like a step back is that it allows much more powerful interaction with the computer, sort of the same way that if you drive a race car, you use a manual transmission, not an automatic transmission. It's a step back in one sense, but it allows you to do much more with the car. Now, I'm going to go through these terminal commands pretty fast. The first one, we want to see who we are logged in as. Command is who am I? And I'm logged in as Evan. Well, that's my name, so I made the account, so that's not surprising. Next one is where in the directory structure am I? When you log into the terminal, it immediately puts you in your home directory, but wherever you wind up, you can always know where you are by typing pwd. That's present working directory. The next thing that we want to do is get the host name of the computer. So this is something that we send out and packets and how we identify ourselves to other computers. And if I do that, it's Euler. Now, if you do this on the Macs that we set up, you'll see that you're in the admin account and that your host name has the name of the machine in it. You're already leaking information. So part of the activity should be to have students change that. The next thing that I'm going to do is I created a directory called temp, and temp has a file in it. But we want to get more information about the file, so we are going to use some command options. LHA F, L gives us this long format, H gives us the 4.0K and the 12K, which says that these are 4 kilobytes, 12 kilobytes. There's no number on the last one because we have a very small file. So it's only 64 bytes. This also gives us the file permissions. The fact that it's a directory is actually in the first byte. And then the next three tells us what the owner can do with it. Well, the owner of this directory is Evan. That's my name. And the group that this is in is also Evan. So anyone in the Evan group can read or execute, but they can't write to it. And then anyone on the computer can read or execute, but not write. And for my file, it's not a directory, so that first bit is unset. But I can read or write, and nobody can execute, but people in the group and anyone else can read the file. All right, so let's see, what can we do? Can we get the contents of the file to print into the terminal? Well, yes, we can. There's a command called cat, and if I just type the first few characters of the file, I can use tab to complete. And see up here, you see all the keystrokes that I'm making, and so the last one was just a tab, and filled in the rest of it, and there are 3 lines in the file. This video is really short, GenCyber principles, and the fact that I've made many screencasts. Little issues about sound and video, and anyway. So what if we wanted to change the name of the file? Well, we can use the mv command. So my file.txt can become my f.txt. And again here, if I do the same listing of files, I've now changed it. Size hasn't changed, but the name changed. Okay. What if I want to copy that file? Well, there's a cp command. Again, myf.txt can go to, and now I'll fill in my file.txt. And now if I copy if I list the files, there are 2 files. Okay, so this is not any big deal. I'm not going to remove a directory yet, but let's say we want to add a line to the file. So the first thing is, how do I get the command terminal to say something I want? Well, I could say, I hope this audio is in sync. And it says that back to me. Okay. Now, if I want to add that to the bottom of the file, I can use the cat command and append it with 2 greater than signs to my file.txt. You'll see if I list them now, the first one, the one that I appended it to, is 93 bytes. The other one's only 64 bytes. And this brings us to our next thing, where we're going to use the output of one command to give us something, the input to a new one. So my file.txt, if I show you it, it's going to have 4 lines. Cat my file.txt, right, has 4 lines. What if I want to count those lines? Well, I can pipe the result into WC, which is word count, but word count actually allows us to count words, lines, characters. We're going to put the L for lines, and this should give us 4 lines. Now, if I look at my f.txt, it will only have 3 lines. Okay. So the 2 most interesting commands we're going to use today are find and grep. So frequently you get onto a computer that you don't know and you want to find a file. Maybe you know what the file's name is, but you don't know where it is. And there are thousands, millions of files on a computer. Well, we're going to use the computer to find those files for us. So cd ... and I know that I want to find my file.txt. And so I am going to use find, dot for the directory that I'm in, dash name, because we're finding it by name, and I am going to do my file.txt, and found it pretty quickly, even though I have a lot of files in this directory. So 2 pages full of files. All right, but grep is even more powerful. Grep says, how about we tell you where that file is just by what's in it. And this becomes extremely important in finding vulnerabilities in large code bases, because we can search for passwords, we can search for buffer overflows. So let's take a look at what this is, right? So if I, bad coding practices that lead to compromises. So if I do grep and I say -r for recursive, -I for, it doesn't matter if it's capitalized or not, I include all of the .txt files and all of the org files, I can search for GenCyber, and I just come up with a fairly short list, and I see my file.txt there. Now, what happens if I pick another word, a more common word? I pick GenCyber. But what if I pick video? I've got lots of files with video in it. In fact, I'm going to show you. So I can do the same command, but then say video. Now, temp is in there, but it's going to be much harder to find, or myfile.txt. So we can use that whole piping concept to say how many files did it return. So I'm going to pump this through wc-l, and it found 1,606 files. So you always want to choose the word or the phrase that is most unique to what you're looking for. All right, and so now the last thing is, how do we remove a directory? Well, if I go back to cd temp and I list the files, let's say I want to remove the file, I would throw in a -i just so that it'll ask me to confirm. Do I really want to remove it? Yes. Now, if I cd out and I say rmdir, remove the directory, temp, it will throw an error because the directory is not empty. So we could do one of two things. We could either remove myfile.txt, or we could use a force command, rm-rf, and this will remove both the directory and the file. But obviously, this is a more advanced command because we're not checking. We need to really make sure we know what we're doing. So I hope this tutorial was useful, and I hope it works, and I hope the audio is in sync. So I'm going to go back.